Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are going to be talking about something exciting. This is going to be as exciting as watching paint dry. But trust me on this, guys, you're in for a wild ride. We're diving into some of the weirdest, most unbelievable but totally true facts about United States monuments. We're talking behind-the-scenes secrets, hidden messages, and historical hiccups that they definitely didn't teach you in school. Did you know some of these iconic landmarks were almost totally different? Or that they have secret rooms, hidden typos, and even their own zip codes? Get ready to impress your friends with your newfound knowledge, because after this video you'll be the trivia master of all things monuments. So buckle up, grab your thinking caps, and get ready to have your minds blown. Let's get this monument party started. Alright, let's kick things off with Lady Liberty herself, the Statue of Liberty. She's iconic, she's majestic, she's French? Okay, maybe you knew that part. But get this, she wasn't even supposed to be ours in the first place. That's right, folks, the Statue of Liberty was originally designed as a gift for Egypt. Can you imagine? The sculptor, Frederick Auguste Bartholdi, envisioned her standing tall and proud at the entrance of the Suez Canal. He even pitched the idea as Egypt carrying the light to Asia, but Egypt was like, thanks but no thanks. Maybe they thought she was a little too extra, so Bartholdi, not one to give up easily, set his sights on America, and the rest, as they say, is history. I mean, can you imagine the Suez Canal with Lady Liberty just chilling there? Talk about a plot twist. Next up, we've got the Washington Monument, that towering obelisk dedicated to our first president. It's tall, it's imposing, and it's two different colors? Yep, you heard that right. If you look closely, you'll notice a distinct color difference in the stone about a third of the way up. So, what's the deal with the two-tone situation? Well, it turns out that construction on the monument was paused due to a little thing called the Civil War, and when they finally resumed construction, they had to use stone from a different quarry. Apparently, they didn't have those handy-dandy color-matching apps back then, but hey, it just adds to the character, right? It's like a time capsule reminding us of a tumultuous period in American history. Plus, it makes for a pretty interesting trivia fact. Next time you're in DC, impress your friends with your knowledge of monument masonry. They'll be like, wow, how did you know that? And you can be all casual and say, oh, just something I picked up. Alright, Mount Rushmore. Majestic, right? 4 of America's most esteemed presidents carved into a mountainside. It's pretty much the definition of epic. But get this, behind those stoic faces there's a secret. Okay, maybe not so much a secret as a hidden room. See, the sculptor, Gutzon Borglum, had this whole grand vision for something he called the Hall of Records. He imagined a grand chamber carved into the mountain, right behind Lincoln's head, where America's most important documents and artifacts would be stored for future generations. Sadly, Borglum died before he could finish it, and the project ran out of funding. But hey, maybe someday someone will finish what he started. You know, make Mount Rushmore even cooler. Let's be honest, the Lincoln Memorial is pretty darn impressive. I mean, that statue of Honest Abe sitting there all thoughtful-like, it's enough to make you want to brush up on your Gettysburg Address. But even the most iconic monuments aren't immune to the occasional blunder. Turns out there's a typo in one of the inscriptions at the Lincoln Memorial. Yeah, you heard me right, a typo. In the inscription of Lincoln's second inaugural address, the word future is misspelled as F-U-T-U-R-E. See, they accidentally carved an E where an F should be. Now, they did try to fix it, kind of like when you try to erase something on a piece of paper and it just smudges. But hey, nobody's perfect, right? Even monument builders. Okay, picture this. St. Louis, Missouri. Right on the banks of the Mississippi River. Now imagine a giant gleaming arch reaching up into the sky. That, my friends, is the Gateway Arch, and it's basically a giant stainless steel welcome mat. But this isn't just any arch, oh no. This is the tallest man-made monument in the entire United States of America. That's right, it beats out the Washington Monument, the Statue of Liberty, even the Space Needle. Standing at a whopping 630 feet tall, this architectural marvel is a testament to American ingenuity and, let's be honest, a love for things that are really, really tall. The arch is so tall, in fact, that on a clear day you can see up to 30 miles in every direction from its observation deck. So if you're ever in St. Louis, do yourself a favor and take a ride to the top. Alright, so we've all seen pictures of the Liberty Bell, right? It's iconic. But did you know that our beloved symbol of freedom has a typo? Yeah, you heard me right, a typo. I mean, it's right there in the inscription. Pennsylvania instead of Pennsylvania. It's like the founding fathers just handed it to the engraver and were like, you got this, right? And the engraver was like, yep, totally got this, but then totally didn't have it. Maybe they didn't have spell check back then? I don't know. It's just funny to think about. This giant bell, a symbol of freedom and all that, and it's got a typo. It's like finding out your superhero wears his underwear on the outside. You're still impressed, but, maybe a little less intimidated. So next time you see a picture of the Liberty Bell, just remember, even the most iconic symbols aren't perfect. And that's okay. Alright, let's head down south to Texas, where everything's bigger, including, apparently, the tourist crowds. We're talking about the Alamo, folks. This historic Spanish mission is, well, kind of a big deal, and by kind of a big deal, I mean it's the most visited tourist site in all of Texas. That's a lot of cowboy hats and Remember the Alamo t-shirts. Seriously, they say over 4 million people visit the Alamo every year. You've got history buffs, families on vacation, maybe even a few descendants of Davy Crockett wandering around. It's a melting pot of Texan pride and historical significance. So if you ever find yourself in San Antonio, be sure to stop by the Alamo. Just, maybe bring some noise-canceling headphones if you're not a fan of crowds. Okay, time for a little trip out west to the Golden Gate Bridge. You know that iconic orange bridge? Yeah, well, here's the thing, it's not actually golden. Shocker, right? I know, Golden Gate Bridge, golden, it all makes sense. But the truth is, it's painted a vibrant orange color, officially called International Orange. Apparently it was chosen because it complements the natural surroundings and makes the bridge more visible in the fog. I guess International Orange Gate Bridge just doesn't have the same ring to it, huh? But hey, whatever color you call it, it's still one of the most recognizable bridges in the world. And let's be honest, it wouldn't be the same in gold, would it? It'd be like, oh, look at that, it's something. Something very shiny and probably very expensive. Yeah, orange is definitely the way to go. Alright, so picture this. It's 1923, you're cruising down Sunset Boulevard in your fancy new Model T, and bam! There it is, on the side of Mount Lee, this massive sign that says, "Wait for it, Hollywoodland." That's right, folks. The iconic Hollywood sign wasn't always just Hollywood. Originally, it was a big, flashy advertisement for a real estate development called, you guessed it, Hollywoodland. I guess they figured, hey, we've got sunshine, palm trees, and now talking pictures? Why not slap a giant sign on the hill? Makes sense to me. But here's the kicker. The sign was only supposed to stay up for like a year and a half. Can you imagine Los Angeles without the Hollywood sign? It's like Pam without her teapot, or Michael without a bad idea. Thankfully, the sign became a symbol of the booming film industry and, well, the rest is history. So next time you see that iconic sign, remember it's not just about the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. It's also a reminder that even the most ambitious real estate schemes can sometimes have unintended consequences. Who knew a temporary advertisement would become one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world? Okay, let's blast off to Seattle, home of coffee, grunge music, and of course, the Space Needle. Now, this futuristic tower is pretty darn cool on its own, right? But the story behind its inspiration is even cooler. See, back in the early 1960s, the World's Fair was coming to Seattle, and the city fathers wanted something big, something bold, something that screamed future. Enter Edward E. Carlson, the mastermind behind the Space Needle. Legend has it, he sketched his initial design on a napkin inspired by, wait for it, a flying saucer. Yep, you heard that right, a flying saucer. Apparently Carlson was so captivated by the idea of space exploration and UFO sightings that he channeled that into his design, and you know what, it worked. The Space Needle, with its sleek curves and that iconic saucer-shaped top, became an instant symbol of the future. It's amazing how a little bit of extraterrestrial inspiration can lead to something so iconic. So, next time you see the Space Needle, remember it's not just a cool building, it's a testament to the power of imagination and the allure of the great unknown. Who knew aliens could inspire such architectural genius? Alright, let's head to the most famous address in America. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., the White House. Now we all know about the Oval Office, the Rose Garden, maybe even the bowling alley. But did you know, deep beneath the surface, there's a secret hiding in plain sight. I'm talking about the White House swimming pool. Yep, you heard that right, a swimming pool. Now you might be picturing a lavish Olympic-sized pool with a diving board and a snack bar, but in reality it's more like a fancy indoor lap pool. See, back in 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who used a wheelchair, wanted a way to exercise and stay in shape. So what did he do? He had a swimming pool built right there in the White House. Talk about a presidential perk. Over the years, the pool has seen its fair share of presidential splashes. From John F. Kennedy, who was known for his swimming skills, to Harry Truman, who apparently wasn't, the White House pool has been a place for relaxation, exercise, and maybe even a little bit of presidential pondering. Who knows what kind of world-changing ideas were sparked while doing a few laps. Alright, so picture this. You're working at the Pentagon, right? Top secret stuff, important meetings, the whole 9 yards. You've got to go, number one, no problem, the Pentagon has like a zillion bathrooms, but here's the thing, it has way more bathrooms than it needs. I'm talking twice as many bathrooms as necessary. See, back in the day, when they were building this behemoth, there were these things called, get this, segregation laws. Yeah, not cool. And guess what? Those laws meant separate bathrooms for, so they built all these extra bathrooms, and then, thankfully, times changed. Those laws went out the window faster than you can say Dunder Mifflin. And now the Pentagon is left with, well, a lot of extra toilets. Talk about a design flaw, am I right? But hey, at least you'll never be waiting in line, right? On to the next weird fact. Okay, so you know the Empire State Building, right? Iconic, massive, King Kong hanging off it, the whole deal. But did you know that this building is so big, so ginormous, that it has its own zip code? Yup, you heard me right. Forget just a street address, this building is like its own little city, with the zip code 10118. Think about that next time you mail a postcard from the top. You're basically sending it from a whole other world, a world of tourists, crazy high rents, and probably some really amazing views. I mean, can you imagine having to sort the mail for that place? Talk about a nightmare before Christmas. Is this for the 86th floor? How about the 102nd? Oh man, King Kong left his banana peel in the mailbox again. But hey, at least they probably have a pretty sweet mailroom, right? Alright, moving on. Okay, picture this. You're a worker on the Hoover Dam back in the day, right? You're miles from civilization, surrounded by nothing but desert and this massive concrete structure. You're missing home, missing your family. But hey, at least you could get mail. That's right, folks, the Hoover Dam was so remote during its construction that it actually had its own post office. Can you imagine that? This engineering marvel, this testament to human ingenuity, also had a place to mail a letter. I mean, it makes sense, right? You got hundreds, thousands of workers out there toiling away. They gotta stay connected somehow. And let's be honest, sending a postcard from the Hoover Dam, that's pretty darn cool. So next time you see a picture of that magnificent dam, just remember, somewhere in its concrete depths, there's a forgotten post office, a tiny piece of normalcy in the middle of an extraordinary undertaking. Alright, so we all know the Liberty Bell, right? Symbol of freedom, cracked to perfection. But did you know that during World War II we were close to losing it forever? No, seriously, this isn't a drill. See, with the war raging, folks were worried that if, God forbid, the Nazis invaded, they'd melt down the Liberty Bell for scrap metal. Can you imagine the audacity, the sheer disrespect? I mean, come on, so what did we do? We hid it, of course. Like a prized Beanie Baby collection. The Liberty Bell was loaded onto a train, disguised and shuffled around different locations to keep it safe from harm. Talk about a secret mission, right? It just goes to show, even our most cherished symbols aren't invincible. We gotta protect them, fight for them, just like the ideals they represent. Well, that's it for today's dose of weird but true facts about US monuments. Who knew these iconic landmarks had such quirky secrets, huh? It's like finding out your history teacher had a secret life as a rock star. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these weird but true facts, make sure to like and subscribe for more interesting content. See you next time.